Hi, this is Kirk, the Bariatric Carnivore. This is part 3 of having a very successful bariatric surgery. Now, I am not an advocate for bariatric surgery. I am just a person who had it. And there's some things that I've learned, and I was successful at it. I got down to weight, but afterwards I learned more and more about metabolic health. I didn't even know that there was metabolic health and why it was important. That came along later. So when I call this channel the Bariatric Carnivore, I'm one of these people that had the bariatric surgery and then discovered the carnivore keto lifestyle. So what I'm going to try to do is, I'm not going to, you're an adult. If you're going to have bariatric surgery, you're going to have bariatric surgery. So I'm going to try to show you some of the things that I learned that made my surgery successful, what I did, what I learned from other people before I had it, so that I could have a very successful surgery and lose the weight that I need to lose. So, if you've listened to parts 1 and 2, you know how to prep for your surgery, things that you need to do in advance to get ready to have a successful surgery, how to survive that first month during the most critical healing period, where your doctor's prescribed a very specific diet that you need to follow in order to make sure that your stomach heals without tearing and you're not going to have any rips or ruptures. Step 3 is that when they leave you alone, they've cut your stomach open, they remove 70% of your stomach now, and they've prescribed a diet to help get you started. Now you are completely on your own. What do you do now? And let's talk about some of the fun things that happen when you start losing weight rapidly, thanks to bariatric surgery. Number one thing that I'm going to suggest to you is do not buy new clothes as you go through this, because you're going to go through sizes very quickly. And what I did was I went to Goodwill stores and other places where I could get clothes cheap, because I knew I was going from a 46-inch waist, eventually ending up about a 38-inch waist. So I was going through clothes almost every 2 weeks. I'd get to a new size. So don't invest in clothes. Don't invest in new belts. If you Google ratchet belts, you're going to find a bunch of really cool belts that are variable. And they adjust very easily, and you just trim the edges. So you don't want to. Belts are expensive, dudes. So but these ratchet belts are great because they keep changing sizes. And I've shown you a link right now on some that are fairly inexpensive from Amazon, but they are a good investment, and you'll be able to use that belt during the whole course of the time, and you are going to shrink pretty rapidly if you're following my advice and you're following the diet. So, plan on that. You're going to go through a lot of clothes pretty darn quickly before you start slowing down to a size where you can start investing in better clothes. The next thing you're going to, by the way, shoe sizes don't seem to shift that much, so don't worry about that, at least as far as I can tell. Now, here is the really weird part that nobody will ever tell you, but I am going to. Now, we're adults here, and this is an adult conversation, so please, if there's any kids nearby, this is your fair warning. Don't let the kids listen to this part. This is where it really gets fun. Your hormones are stored in your fat, and you start losing a lot of fat pretty rapidly. You are going to go through a new adolescence. You're going to be friskier than you've probably been in many years. If you're doing this the way I kind of suggest, which is to be eating real food, particularly meat, you're going to be particularly frisky. And you are going to create what I refer to lovingly as a pheromone cloud. I notice this with a lot of guys. There's two things that seem to happen after you have bariatric surgery and you start losing the weight. Number one, you start getting more confident because you feel better. You're more confident because you're looking better. And I really do think that all these hormones dumping out all at once kind of sends out this weird cloud that attracts members of the opposite sex like nobody's business. I was single when I had this surgery, and you get all this confidence, you're losing all these hormones and you're losing this weight. And frankly, I was dating at the time, and I had more fun during the few months after the surgery, and I was behaving like probably an irresponsible adolescent at the time, but it was fun. So just warning in advance, it seems to happen. The guys that I talk to that and bariatric support groups and stuff like that, some of them frankly had some really damaging affairs at the office and something like that, that girls that they were attracted to suddenly started noticing them and would grab them in the copier room and stuff like that. So I'm just warning in advance. It seems to be a consistent pattern as a combination of the confidence, but I think also you can't ignore the fact that all these hormones are coming out. Speaking of hormones, do you remember, if you dare, what it was like being an adolescent and the ups and downs on some of those days? That's going to happen too. It was weird. I was channel surfing. I was watching Netflix. Somehow found something I thought was an action movie. It turned out to be kind of a chick flick, and found myself almost bawling like a baby. It was like and I couldn't figure out where in the heck is that coming from. And I'd get very sentimental from time to time. Well, it's like being an adolescent again. The estrogen dumps out just as much as the testosterone does. So I'm just going to warn you, there's going to be some weird hormone swings that are going to happen. It's just part of the deal. Something really strange happens if you are in a committed relationship when you have your bariatric surgery. I strongly recommend that you do some couples counseling before and during and after the weight loss surgery. There's something that changes in a power dynamic in a relationship when one of the couples starts losing weight and starts feeling more confident. One of the studies that I read said that what happened is in a lot of relationship, there's kind of a switch in power. That the member of the couple that was the obese one kind of felt lucky to be in the relationship. Suddenly, they're starting to look physically better and may feel that their marketplace value in the dating world is better. And as a result, there's some power dynamics that seem to happen. And that's why there seems to be a lot of divorces that happen following bariatric surgery. I'm not saying that as a reason not to do it. I'm just saying that it is something that you need to be aware of, and you need to prep for it. And one way that you can do it if you want to continue your relationship is to start planning now to have a stronger relationship and put some effort into making yourself having a stronger relationship and work through these issues ahead of time. If you do a little reading on it, you're going to see that there's a lot of articles on what happens to primary relationships following bariatric surgery when one person gets healthy and the other one, stays the same. So, talk that through. The more aware you are of something before it happens, it doesn't hit you by surprise. Forewarned is forearmed. So be ready to go. Realize that it's going to change the relationship. You don't have to be a statistic. You can prepare and you can do that work to make your relationship stronger as you get healthier. But if you just let things happen and you just think, everything's going to be fine, it's going to kick you in the butt, because I've seen it happen too many times. So prep for it. It's nice if both couples, get healthy at the same time. That doesn't always happen. You can't force somebody to do it, but it is going to alter the relationship. Plan for the hormone dump, and then we start getting into the more fun things. I can't tell you what it was like the very first time I walked by a mirror and I didn't even recognize myself. I really quite literally thought somebody had broken into my house because I just didn't physically recognize myself. I'd lost so much weight. and it almost took my breath away for a second, and then it really made me smile for the rest of the day. It's going to be really cool when you can start tying your shoes without holding your breath and worrying about it. And when you get into your first airplane ride after you've lost 40 to 60 pounds and you don't need the seat extender and you feel more comfortable and you're not sweating all over the people next to you. Losing weight has got a lot of cool things, and your mobility and your ability to get things done will change dramatically. I remember I was trimming my hedges up in the front of my house, and I didn't even think about it. I just jumped up on the stoop to trim the hedges, something that used to take me a couple minutes, where I would put one foot, make sure I was balanced, put the next foot up, slowly lift myself up. And all of a sudden, I just realized I just jumped up and I didn't even think about it, because I was trusting my body for the first time. And that is a cool feeling when you see these little non-scale wins happen and you start feeling yourself becoming more alive and stronger and smaller and able to do things. It will alter your sex life. There are things that I could not do when I weighed over 300 pounds that I could do with gusto and for a lot longer and a lot more fun. And it was great. So, there's a lot of very cool things that are waiting you down the road as you lose weight, get stronger, and get healthier. Honor the sleeve. Realize it's not a magic wand. It is a tool to help you get healthier if you're committed to it. We'll talk tomorrow about the diet following bariatric surgery and the way I've learned to eat. Because one thing I did learn is that losing weight alone isn't necessarily health. See, one of the things I did not know the word metabolic syndrome. I found out about that much later. If my doctor told me, my eye doc told me that I was going to go blind unless I got shots in the back of my eyes. And I said, was there anything I could do? And she said, lose weight. If she had told me fix my metabolism, I would have Googled something completely different. And I wouldn't have had bariatric surgery. I would have fixed my health, first of all. But, that's water under the bridge. All I knew was to Google lose weight, and bariatric surgery at that time I thought was the only tool and the best tool that I could use to make that happen. So that's what I did. You may choose, after listening to some of these videos on getting healthier with carnivore, maybe I don't want to have bariatric surgery. Maybe I want to try a carnivore lifestyle and change my way of eating and my relationship with food, and that's fine too. But if you're going to have the bariatric surgery, I want you to be as successful as possible. I went from 300 pounds and 46-inch waist to now I just had my DEXA scan done. I'm down to 17% body fat from 56%. My body was 56% fat when I began this journey. It's now 17%. That's a healthy ratio. My blood levels are all perfectly healthy. My blood pressure, I'm off 10 medications. I don't have allergies anymore. I'm in the best shape of my life. Part of it was from losing weight. I'm sure the bariatric surgery had something to do with it, but mostly it was changing diet and lifestyle. And we'll talk about that in the next video on how to make the next step. Because the goal of this channel is to help make you healthier, to help make you stronger, to be the best version of you. Nobody's going to do it for you. You're going to have to learn how to do this yourself. My doctors didn't teach me how to do it. The healthcare system, the food industry, big pharma, none of the people that you think are on your side as far as health are concerned are really on your side. They're trying to sell you their product. See, in this fight for our health, we're all alone in this. We're going to have to figure it out for ourselves. But we are alone in this together, and that's what this community is all about. If you like this video, if you want to see more like it, please subscribe to the channel. That helps get this message out to more people. Like it. Comment below. If you've gone through this surgery, if you're going to have it, if this was helpful, please let me know in the comments below. I read them all. I don't always respond to all of them, but I do read them all. So if you've got a comment, please leave it there. That again helps the algorithm know that people are benefiting from this, and it helps get it out to more people. And when you Google it, it pops up. So that's a big help to this channel. Thank you for listening. Tomorrow we'll talk about the next step in your bariatric and hopefully carnivore journey. This is Kirk, the Bariatric Carnivore.